Guards, lock the gates. They've been arrested.
All right, welcome, kings and queens. Today we are talking Lil Scrappy and Bambi, baby. You know what? They have become a social media internet sensation, in my opinion. And I say that because I think we love drama, and they keep the drama going, honey. This has been one of the ugliest, messiest, nastiest divorce, divorce, divorces that I've ever seen, and both of them are guilty of talking shit on both sides of the fence. Honey, where I'm from, you cut your losses, you move on. You talk your shit at the kitchen table and you keep it moving. But somebody needs to send both Scrappy and Bambi the memo, because this every time I hear either one of them talk, the first thing I think is, you're still hurt. Both of you are still hurt about how it went down. And I just kind of feel like both of you are still trying to get your lick back. I have to admit, though, I'm somewhat intrigued by Lil Scrappy, because one on one, the interview that he gave, he appears to be so well behaved, as opposed to when you see him engage and interact with Bambi. Now, my question to you: does it reign true that some people just bring out the worst in you while others bring out the best in you? And if that's true, does Scrappy bring out the worst or the best in Bambi, or is Bambi guilty of bringing out the worst in Scrappy? Y'all, let's talk about it. Are y'all ready? For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
All right, so recently Lil Scrappy sat down and did a one-on-one exclusive interview with Carlos King. In that interview, he revealed that he's actually a God-fearing man. Listen, I had Scrappy. Now, you know what? I'm not tripping, because I get it, man. We all struggle. We all struggle in this thing called life. But Scrap, I'm gonna need you to try a little bit more, okay? When it comes to that thing, I'm gonna need you to put a little bit more E for effort when it comes to your public persona, okay? He established that his relationship with God actually came by way of his father, that his father was a praying man. He would hear his father in his prayer closet just going to town, engaging with God. And he was like, whoa, what is that? While he was little. And that's how he came to establish a relationship with Christ. And I was just intrigued right off jump. So I wanted to hear more, because I'm like, that's complete opposite of what we see when it comes to Little Scrappy persona, and also the Scrappy we see on Love and Hip Hop, right? He said that his father said that, you should train the child in the way they should go. And, or did he say that? No, his father didn't say that. Hell, I'm saying that. I think it's important that we do train a child in a way that they should go, no matter what you believe in. I think it's important to instill values, morals, integrity, all of that good stuff in your children, period, point blank. Because what we do hope is they grow up to cultivate those things that we've taught them into their personal lives, their adult lives. And I really hope that Scrappy is able to cultivate the relationship that he has with God in a manner that we can see it come full fold, where he's actually maturing, and we could see that relationship impacting his behavior when it comes to women, in my opinion. Now, I understand the complexities of having a relationship with God and not being perfect, honey. I trust me when I say I understand that. I've always struggled with that, probably when I got to college. I've always struggled with this. So kudos to you, Scrappy. One thing I've learned about the likes of a Scrappy, um, the likes of a Martell. So let me go back. Let me go back. Yeah, kudos to you on that, Scrappy. I have to take my hat off to you, because at least you're trying, child. At least you're out here trying. And I listen, y'all. The world is not for the faint of heart, honey. The world is not for the faint of heart. You see all of this stuff going on around us, and he's in the hip hop culture. He's in that hip hop world. Child, I don't know if I could ever or would ever recommend a family member, niece, cousin to marry anybody in that industry. What about you? Is it all good if you come in and you really understand what it is and what you're dealing with, ladies? Would you be okay with dating the likes of a Scrappy? Because also in the same interview while he was talking, child, one thing I've learned about the likes of a Scrappy, a Martel Holt, and a Ernesto, the Ernestos of the world. These niggas love some Popeye's chicken. Okay? They love some Popeye's chicken. And not only that, they have this unbelievable, unrealistic expectation of loyalty that women should stand by them no matter what. Uh-uh. That ain't how that worked. Because in my opinion, Scrappy, you and Bambi got 50-50 on this one. Sir. Yes, sir. Both of you are equally responsible for the demise in your marriage. In my opinion, listening to both of y'all talk, and both of you do a lot of poking and a lot of talking and a lot of digging when it comes to each other. As a matter of fact, from the tea that you spilled, it sounds like you should not have married Bambi in the first place. Like, okay, so she gets in the hot tub with Benzino. You find that out prior to marrying her, prior to putting a ring on her finger, prior to actually going to the jeweler, to the jury, black folks, jury style. And you still married her. At that point, whatever she had going on with Benzino, that was null and void. Why are you talking about it? But let me get back to what I'm trying to say. So that sounds like that should have never been a marriage, right? If that's what you are upset about, one of the things, one of the many things that you should have known then, what you know now, sir, Scrap, why did you move forward? And the reason why I say that, because a couple of videos ago, I shared with you all that statistics states that 85% of divorces are initiated by women. Now, if we pause there, some even go as far as to say that 85% of those marriages, 85% of those divorces should have never been marriages in the first place. Y'all ready to talk? Let's go a little bit deeper on this Bambi and Scrappy saga. What are your thoughts so far? Should they have even been married in the first place? Or you know what? It's okay. They tried it. It didn't work. It's time to move on. What are your thoughts? I mentioned a few moments earlier that I feel like I learned a lot about Scrappy in this interview. And here are a couple of takeaways that I walked away with. Number one, he's open. He's open to talk. He didn't try to conceal anything. He was extremely open. I really love that. That makes a really good interview. That means a person is real, but actually it displays a level of confidence, right, wrong, or indifferent. Right? That's a person that's extremely confident with themselves. Bring it. I stand on what I said. So that's always a good personality to have when you're doing an interview. And he's a good storyteller. And not to be confused with lying. What I mean by storytelling is he has a knack for drawing in the audience. Not everybody's a good storyteller. You can see sometimes when people do interviews, you literally have to pull shit out of them. And it's kind of like you ask a question, they'll give you an answer. And it's like almost like an interview, right? Have you ever gone to a job interview where you're like, shit? And most people get anxiety from interviews because it feels like an interview. But have you ever gone to a job interview where the conversation just flowed and they got exactly what they needed out of you without it feeling like, okay, so tell me more about yourself and what makes you want the job? They could actually pick up on what brought you here today just based on some of the things you talked about. And that's what I'm talking about. He's a good storyteller. He knows how to move the conversation along. He knows when to kind of amp it up and become animated, take it back down, get serious, give you a little bit more information about himself. I think he did a hell of a job as an interviewee. Um, he makes sense when he talks. Uh-oh, I'm finna get in trouble. I'm finna get in trouble, but I'm about to say it. It ain't too many from the hip hop industry that do make sense to me when they talk. So it's always nice. It's always a treat when you get one of them. That actually makes some damn sense. And he's one of them that makes sense. Now, y'all don't confuse this with whether we like him or not and if he's wrong or not. I'm just saying when he talks, you can follow, whether you agree or disagree. Let's see. What else? What else? What else came out of that? I've also gathered that he's emotionally sensitive. Yeah, I feel like he has a lot of work to do when it comes to his emotions. He has very very he has very high emotional reactions to things that go on around him. I feel like he's easily triggered when it comes to women and his emotions. He's sensitive and he can be extremely petty. Let's talk about it. Scrappy, you petty as hell with some of the stuff that you share. He can be real petty. In my opinion, Mama D neglected this boy's basic psychological safety needs. Number one, he witnessed adults having sex in his room. He said that before he did this interview. He had a really, 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 really emotional reaction to his mother trying to sweep his past under the rugs. And actually, he assigned her responsibility to say, "You are the reason why I deal with a lot of shit that I deal with today and that I am the way that I am today. But yet, you want me to give you Mother of the Year award and pretend that all of these things that you exposed me to did not happen." So, imagine that for a child, all of the things that he was exposed to because his mother was a pimp. And in my opinion, if his mother was a pimp, women often do not have a choice in what you make them do with their bodies when you are their pimp. So, would it be safe to say, for those of you that are tuned in, that he may have witnessed women being disrespected in some of the most foul ways? As a result, I don't believe he has much respect for women. I don't. Which is when you hear him do the interview, he talks about he's basically cheated on everybody. There we go. So that's not really a lot of respect. And the actual disrespect that it's a learned behavior. He learned how to disrespect women. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all ready? From his own damn mama. He watched his mama and her behavior towards other women by the way she treated other women. And that's where he picked up the disrespect, in my opinion. So that's some things that, when it came to him and who he is, some things I took away. But here's some additional things that I learned in this interview. Nothing new because I heard it before, but that Mama D actually ran hoes through her home where her children resided. Initially on Love and Hip Hop, when he talked about his mom being or operating in that capacity, right? And we're going to call it a spade, y'all. If we're going to talk about this, we're going to have to call it. That's basically sex trafficking. Okay. Now, and you did it in your home, and you would change his sheets as a little boy and clean up his room and sanitize his room as a little boy on the weekends where he can play freely. Ma'am, you need your ass whooped. He saw men and women doing what they do in his room as a child. Pause. He went on to explain that there were also drug straws around the home in place of a pipe. Now, I don't know what drug straws are, but I can only imagine. Okay. Damn. So, the reason why I'm saying pause and damn, that's a lot for a little kid to be taken on, both male and female. Mama D, he said, would be running the streets. She wouldn't dare. Either she would be running the streets, she would be down somewhere around the corner at a different trap house. And so his play uncles and aunties watch the kids. Ow. No. These kids had, in my opinion, play, not real. These were not her brother and sister, biological aunties and uncles, play uncles and aunties that were actually crackheads. Because he said when they hit the pipe, he would sneak out. He would sneak out and hit the streets. And he became a weed head at age 12, bona fide certified weed head. And I'm calling that out not to make him a bad child, but to give you a revelation, a visual. He had no guidance. He had no love. He had no respect. He had no protection. He had no teachings. He had nothing. But thank God, every now and then, because I don't pick up that he lived with his father, but thank God every now and then he did witness his father serving God by way of prayer. So, whew, I'm going to save my thoughts. Let me go to number 2. Another thing that I learned is that he gained exposure to greatness and infinite possibilities. He gained exposure to that by being on tour and on the road with Lil Jon. And it just goes to say, you know how they say, get around people that are doing things. And you hopefully will develop an appetite for greatness, an appetite for success, an appetite for productivity. And that's what happened to him. He was around the right person, which was Little John. And by way of gaining that exposure, he asked for what he wanted. Oprah Winfrey said, "We don't get what we want. We get what we are brave enough to ask for in this world." So he asked for an opportunity, and guess what? Opportunity knocked. The Bible says, "Asking it shall be given, seeking ye shall find, knocking the door shall be open." And that's exactly how he came to be Lil Scrappy. I want to point out the third thing, that he hustled and he asked, but he also put in the work. In addition to asking, that means a handout, having your handout, he proposed what he was willing to work for and what he was willing to give back. Oh, I think some of that just went over y'all heads because some people out there are too comfortable with asking without putting anything on the table that they would be willing to give. And he's the second artist outside of Rick Ross that I heard say when they went to ask for something, they also proposed what they would be willing to do in exchange for an opportunity. Number 4, he does not have a begging spirit. I didn't pick up on that. That he's, listen, we got a lot of people out here with some begging spirits. They're going to dry beg you to death, honey. They're going to lay down hints and all of this because they expect that if you got it, if you made it, if you earn it, then the least you can do is give a little something. Okay? Ain't willing to do nothing for it. So he don't have a begging spirit. And he shared that 50 cents helped him. He actually lived with 50 for, I don't know how much time, but he lived in that big ass mansion for quite some time. 50 took him on tour. He mentored and poured wisdom into him. I want y'all to pause because I said that men will go the extra mile for each other. Men will make room at the table for each other. Men will shift their resources to ensure that their fellow brother eats. Women, not so much. Oh, hell no, I ain't helping her. And I'm not saying that women should or could, but I'm just saying men are more likely to step in and help each other and bring each other up. Women are very suspicious, very reluctant. Okay. And I'm not talking about you or you. I'm talking about the majority of women as a collective, as a whole, especially Black women. Oh, I know y'all finna eat me up in these comments, but that's okay. So 50 was the second person that exposed him to possibilities by way of environment. Lil Jon gave him visibility and a platform and just the space to think. 50 cents actually put him in an environment, the home, the mansion. This is what you could have. Okay. He also shared that the rap game is a cold, cold world, y'all. We knew that. We know that they took artists to exploit their desperate state of need. That's what he said. He shared. He said, listen, they banking on your desperation. I'm gonna give you 1 to 2 million. And then I'm going to hit you up so hard to the back end that you literally have sold your soul to me. You don't own your name. You don't own nothing. Number 6, he's been broke, even as Lil Scrappy. There's been times he didn't have nothing to his name, just broke. Number 7, his second opportunity is when Mona Scott Young called him. And he shared a really good story about how Diamond cheated on him with Soulja Boy. But Scrappy, you kind of hop, skipped, and jumped all around that baby. You smacked it up, flipped it, and rubbed it down, and left out the part until the end that you was cheating on her first. So you cheated first, and then you got cheated on. But let me share what he said. He said that Diamond cheated on him, honey, and broke his heart, broke him down, honey, broke him down like Legos. Then Mona Scott called. And when Mona called him, he said, listen, I want to bring my baby mama, which is Erica, and he brought Mama D. And the network loved them. And that's how they all came to be. Now, Bambi, this explains your challenge. because you trying to tear down a foundation that was built from the ground up. And ladies, you got to be careful messing with a man. And I don't mean dating, trying to get in his head about abandoning his mother when that's all he had, when he had nothing. Okay. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Even though his relationship with his mother is rocky, she's still his mother. And Bambi, you trying to go for the jugular when it comes to his mom, and that'll never work because he put his mom on. As a result, his mom made it do what it need to do. She played up to that character on Love and Hip Hop, and so did Erica. So Bambi, you've gone after two important women in his life. Now, I'm not saying that makes Bambi wrong or right, but you antagonized the fuck out of Erica prior to getting a ring and after getting a ring. You should have sat back in the cut, played it safe, and been that loving and doting wife behind the scenes, and then pillow talked what you needed to happen when it came to those two, as opposed to putting it out on Front Street. But I'm going to save that until later. That's a whole other different conversation. Okay. You were trying to break an unbreakable bond, Bambi. He put them on. He put them on. He spoke very highly of Erica in this interview. He lit up, in my opinion, when he talks about Erica. It wasn't like a negative spirit or anything heavy hanging over him. I feel like Erica will always be a highlight in his life. Now, he kept it real. He was real honest. He said Erica was his first love, but Diamond gave him his first painful lessons. That Diamond cheated with Soulja Boy. And he said he had bought a house for both him and Diamond. And when she cheated on him, it caused him to have anxiety that was so deep, y'all, and so tough that it changed his sleeping habits. He said he used to sleep in. But after that girl cheated on him, he became a morning person because he could not sleep. My granny used to say the same way you get them is how you lose them. And the reason why I want to say that is because y'all, did you listen to this interview? The boy said Bambi slid in while he was with Erica. Bambi slid in through the back door. So Scrappy. You know what? Not only did Bambi slide in through the back door, but Bambi kind of ran game. She finessed the hell out of him because Bambi was also trying to get on with Benzino. And I kind of feel like Bambi was going for the highest bidder. You know what? Scrappy introduced me to Love and Hip Hop, but I also got this beautiful opportunity with Benzino. Shoot, the highest bidder wins. So my question to you, Scrappy, is if you weren't worried about her conniving ways, as long as you benefited, right? Then why is it a problem now? She got you your Black and Miles while you was in your rehabilitation program. She got you some Popeye's chicken. Baby, what are you complaining about? Because you was cheating on Erica. You were cheating on Diamond. Bambi came in through the back door. Bambi was a side, y'all. Bambi was a side. And, I think when I jokingly said one thing about a Martell Holt, a Scrappy, and the Ernestos of the world, them niggas love some Popeye's chicken. Baby, it's starting to look like a 2-piece and a pepper. We'll get it done every time. We'll do it every time. Yeah, so you enjoyed Bambi's sneaky ways when she was a sneaky link, but then you got mad when she tried to get at Benzino, didn't tell you, but you still married her.
Saying don't try to act like you did everything by yourself, like you just this. You know what I'm saying? Like if that was the case, then it would have happened a long time ago. Before I came in the picture, it would have happened a long time ago. It would have happened with Benzino. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the crazy part because I'm the one to introduce her to the show. I'm the one to introduce her to Mona and Stephanie, and said we were finna do something. But I end up going to jail and rehab. I'm looking at TV. She's coming to the rehab, giving me Black and Miles, coming to talk to me, bringing me Popeyes and shit. And next thing you know, I'm watching TV and she in the jacuzzi with her. And I'm like, hey girl, what the f*** going on? I knew she went up there with them. She said she was getting them girls. That's the kind of shit she played me. She said she was getting them girls.
Guards, lock the gates. They've been arrested.